Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. My name is Short, I'm your ever-loving host, and we are not doing a review today, simply because all the cool issue 1s that have come out have already been sold. I don't really have anything else left to review. I could, I suppose, take a look at the Lock and Key Sandman issue 0, but that's just reprinting Sandman and Lock and Key stuff. So, most people or fans already know about it. So instead, I'm going to carry on with our reviews covering best of the year stuff. Today, I'm talking about AWA Studios' Hotell. People don't know AWA Studios, artists, writers, artisans, I think it's the name it stands for, have basically started up in the past year or so, and I pumped out not a lot of stuff, but they've been chugging it out at a fair old pace, and for the most part, it's been really well received. There's only a couple which I've not heard too much about. In fact, I'm real off the top of my head, I can't remember much of them that hasn't been well done. Resistance got quite good reviews. Year 0 absolutely nailed it. Like, honestly, I wish I'd done more of that one just to keep selling them because, second-hand market, that one went crazy because it was a huge launch with a lot of excitement, but nobody really knew it was going to be as big as it was because it's a new studio. Same thing with Hotel. This one I did order quite a few of because just me personally, I'm a fan of the whole horror genre anyway, and if you can do a portmanteau horror in comic books, that's totally going to grab my attention. Usually you see it as like one complete volume because the stories in them are usually quite short rather than full length thing because it's just 3 parts with an overarching theme. This one's 4 parts, although the 4th one does kind of be split between its own story and the overarching narrative. The stories have basically run a bit of a gamut of somebody who's giving birth and it turns out that it's some kind of monster demon baby. There's somebody who's brought their wife to a motel to murder them but can't. Not when they die, but just keep coming back. There's somebody looking for somebody who's previously been lost at this hotel, or motel, should I say, and they discover some terrifying things that are happening in the basement. And then there's a rather nice exorcism at the end, which ties into the actual overarching thing as well. I don't spoil what the overarching thing is, because that actually is the point of the entire thing. But they are all excellent. Each story on its own, because they are just single issues, sometimes even less than that, because you usually get a little bit of like the crypt keeper, as it were, the hotelier, basically coming in and telling you a little bit about them. So you've even got less pages to go, which I think works really quite nicely. Some brilliant horror stuff can go for long form. I'm thinking Cullen Bunn's Harrow County is the prime example of that one. But for the most part, the longer something keeps going, the harder it is to maintain any kind of sense of, not necessarily intrigue, but tension. Intrigue, I suppose, comes into it when you don't know what's going on. But when you're doing separate individual stories, that is even less of an issue. Each one has its own self-contained creepiness, bad guy, or horrific ending, twist at the tale, which is going to go, oh my god, and then you jump to the next story, which is why I like the portmanteau. It's something which doesn't have to keep you going. It doesn't have to drag you through something. So the few examples of movies where I like where they managed to keep that going are ones where they managed to balance the tension really quite nicely. So it feels like it's constantly lifting up, but something will happen and drop you right back down again. But the lift continues, which is basically what they do here. And it's excellent. The actual storyline, the overarching idea is brilliant. Each individual one is well crafted. Written by John Lees, by the way. I'm going to talk about the art as well. I'm going to try my best to pronounce the name. If you are watching this, I do apologize. Dalibor Talihish, maybe. Do apologize. Honestly, don't know how to pronounce that. I've never seen it written down. The artwork is actually exactly what I wanted it to be. There are times when you get like some unnerving levels of detail and you get a close up to a face or something horrendous happens, and that's fantastic. But for the most part, it comes across as very normal, staid, as it were. But clearly, that's a choice. This is not them only concentrating on the horrific stuff to put the detail in, because it's a constant throughout, and that works really nicely, because then when the unusual, crazy, weird, terrifying thing happens, it jumps off the page a little bit. It grabs you because you weren't expecting it. I mean, reading a horror comic book, sometimes you're just like, oh my god, that is just a bit weird. It's a wonderful, I think it's 3 or 4 panels on a page, going down the page, where they just get closer and closer to something. And there's not really much that happens, but there is something, and it's great when you notice it. There's lots of stuff like that, and it's kind of hard to do that in a comic book form. I've said before, when it comes to comic books, you can't really do a great deal of visual horror in the way that movies and TV shows do, because in a movie, if you think you've seen something you've caught in your right, that'll just kind of stay with you. You won't be 100% sure. In a comic book, you just go like, yeah, there it is. So doing anything like that is not only very good, but it's very clever to be able to do it. And it is scary. I mentioned earlier, it's hard to get scared reading a comic book because everything is kind of like laid out there for you. You can't have a jump scare. the artwork isn't just like a visceral thing that jumps out at you and then disappears, leaving you shocked and reeled and wondering what the hell is going on. It's always just there for you. So the shock value is practically non-existent. But there's still moments in it where something happens and it kind of throws you in a loop a little bit, because the story is what takes you in a different direction. The story actually moves in a way that shocks the mind and stays with you a little bit. And even if you go back and reread it, knowing what's going on, you still have a little uncomfortable moment in the pit of your stomach. And being able to do that for a comic book is absolutely fantastic. It's why it is in my top 10. There's I don't know if I remember if there's any more horror. I think there's some other vaguely horrific stuff to come, but in terms of pure out and out horror, this one is pretty damn high. Anyway, that's it for today. I've got a weekend off. I'll be back on Tuesday. We'll be doing several videos on Tuesday. Got the new comic book day unboxing, a review of something. There's quite a few things on next week, and the next in the countdown. So until then, take it easy. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.